There was a time, it might feel very distant, but there was a time, maybe, that the House of Representatives and Congress people were thought of as such serious legislators and lawmakers and high-minded thinkers. And maybe you remember that time, maybe you don't. If you're as old as I am, if you live as many years as me, then you would remember this. Maybe not. But that time is long gone, I can tell you. We've gotten into this situation in American politics where our leaders are just anything but serious in so many situations, and then some are serious and some I do really respect, but a lot of the interactions and stories that come of Congress and the day-to-day tell a very different story than seriousness for certain. And we got the story previously of Marjorie Taylor Greene having that clash with Lauren Boebert where she calls Lauren Boebert a nasty little bee. And now I have this for you. The Daily Beast reports, quote, "You are a pussy. McCarthy and Swalwell get in the House floor feud." So this is Eric Swalwell, a Democratic congressman, getting into a clash with Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. And we will walk through this. This is one of those sort of entertainment type political stories that is representative of the more concerning aspect of American politics that has become this, and we could have more serious conversations, and we do sometimes, often, but there's also this that's just so absurd you have to talk about it. And we'll get to Eric Swalwell breaking down this interaction during a recent interview on Mice Touch, but first, this reporting is interesting. There's a story going around Capitol Hill, the Daily Beast continues. The Democrats insist you just have to hear. It's about how Speaker Kevin McCarthy is, quote, a pussy. Now, I do have to say, I don't endorse or appreciate that term being used in a derogatory manner for obvious reasons. Why would referencing a part of the female body be an insult to a guy? I don't know. But obviously we know what that term is used to mean. Continuing, on June 21st, the day Republicans voted to censure Representative Adam Schiff, Democrats stood on the House floor and shouted shame at their GOP colleagues. As the spectacle was taking place, one of the leaders of the demonstration, Representative Eric Swalwell, was standing in the well of the House near the Speaker's podium and delivered some harsh words to his fellow Californian. Quote, "This is pathetic." True. Swalwell allegedly told McCarthy, who was presiding over the House at the time, "You are weak. You are a weak man." And we will get to apparently McCarthy almost threatening violence, but you'll have to hold for that. Here's a little screenshot of what was going on there. The exchange was conveyed to the Daily Beast by two separate lawmakers. When reached by phone, Swalwell said he would not discuss the story with the press, but then he eventually did. But he also did not deny the account. McCarthy's office did not respond to a request for comment. As the story goes, McCarthy was visibly upset with Swalwell. He had a vein popping out of his forehead, one member told the Daily Beast. Another member who witnessed the exchange said McCarthy stared down Swalwell for about 10 seconds before walking away. And the lib in me also has to take note that this whole "I'm gonna fight you, you call me weak, I'm gonna fight you," as we'll get to, is an example of the term that very much triggers a lot of people now, but I'm gonna use it, toxic masculinity. But the next day is when things got interesting. On June 21st, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Capitol Hill for a joint address to Congress. Just before Modi took the speaker's podium, Swalwell was on the House floor, making his way to a bathroom just outside the chamber on the Republican side. That's when McCarthy saw him. Quote, McCarthy said, "If you ever say something like that to me again, I'm going to kick the shit out of you," a member claimed to the Daily Beast. Another member who witnessed the exchange provided even more context. They were in each other's faces, basically nose to nose, and Swalwell said something like, "Are we really going to do this?" Really representing our country great as Modi's there. And then after some back and forth with chest puffed out, McCarthy issued a challenge to Swalwell. Quote, "Call me a pussy again, and I'll kick your ass." Yeah, because that's the story we want. The Speaker of the House kicks the behind, the rear end, the caboose of another lawmaker. This is so dumb. While both members told nearly identical versions of the story, they both delivered Swalwell's response in exactly the same way. And for our podcast listeners, let me describe how this is spelled out. Quote, "You, period, are, period, a, period, pussy," Swalwell told McCarthy. After both men stared each other down for another moment, McCarthy eventually relented. Ooh. The chest is beating. It was all bark, no bite. He stepped to the side and let Swalwell through to the bathroom without kicking his ass, important to note, and carried on with his duty hosting the leader of a major U.S. ally in the House chamber. And the story gets even more outrageous, but I'll let Eric Swalwell tell this part.
But this is what's on everybody's mind, talking about hashtag Creep Summer. Probably the leader of hashtag Creep Summer, Kevin McCarthy, the weakest speaker of the House in American history. What happened between you and Kevin McCarthy?
Look, I don't want to embarrass him any further. I was minding my business between the start of the Modi speech and when he came out. These speeches tend to be long. I beeline to the bathroom. McCarthy was standing near the doors to leave the House floor, muttered some nonsense to me. And then I kind of looked at him and said, like, you want to do this right here on the floor? Went on to threaten me with violence multiple times, something to the effect of, I'll kick the shit out of you. I told him what I thought of him. I didn't think he was going to try and take a swing at me with Modi about to come out. I didn't really think he would ever do that. I think he just likes to see himself as a tough guy. And in this party, they prefer violence now over voting. He said it again that, if I talked to him that way, he would do that. I repeated what I thought of him. And then pretty predictably, he turned away. He kind of went like this, and I passed through. I'll just tell you the very Veep-like part of that story after seeing.
Listen to this part. This is such a wild cherry on top of what honestly is a pretty embarrassing story for our Congress.
Speaker of the House threatened you with violence. I kind of blew into the bathroom, and I was pretty fired up at this point. And there's only one person in the bathroom, and he's washing his hands, and he turns toward me, and it was Modi. I was like, wait, McCarthy just tried to fight me. Now I'm like, elbow bumping Modi because his hands are wet. And I just thought this is a Veep episode.
Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. So again, I say, I think Swalwell could have come up with a better way to express the way he thinks of McCarthy. But these lines, I think, are perfectly fair. This is pathetic. You're weak. You're a weak man. I do think Kevin McCarthy, the way he's slapped around by the far right flank of his party, definitely represents a very weak man. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.